When you see someone struggling to stay afloat in life, your immediate instinct is to reach out and pull them up. It is a deeply human reflex to try and rescue a drowning person. There is a dangerous flaw in this reflex. Some people in the water will use your outstretched arm to pull you down with them. We understand that physical diseases spread through close contact, but we rarely apply that logic to human behavior. Psychological states, misery, instability, and chronic dissatisfaction behave like contagious viruses. This behavior is personified by the infector. These individuals draw misfortune upon themselves through an inward instability that radiates outward, unsettling everyone in their orbit. To find a host, the infector relies on camouflage. They present themselves as victims of cruel circumstance to trigger your empathy, drawing you close enough for the infection to take hold. Offering a hand to an infector is an act of exposure. You are inviting a destructive behavioral pattern to become your own. Lola Montez provides a clear map of this pathology. By 1845, her career as a dancer in Paris was failing. She was a patient zero in need of a savior to keep her lifestyle afloat. She targeted Alexandre Dujarier, the wealthy owner of France's largest newspaper. He possessed the influence and resources she required to revive her public image. Dujarier took pity on her. He fell in love, moved her into his apartment, and began using his newspaper's reputation to force a revival of her career. Proximity immediately triggered the symptoms of the virus. Dujarrier's business fortunes began to slide, and his influential friends started avoiding him to escape the drama Lola brought into his social circle. The collapse reached its peak when Dujarier was drawn into a drunken quarrel over Lola's reputation. He was challenged to a duel and killed, ending a career that had been among the most promising in Paris. Dujarrier's death was the predictable conclusion to his association with Lola. He had already surrendered his business and his reputation to her instability. The duel simply finished what the infection started. The virus scales with the power of the host. In Bavaria, Lola bypassed King Ludwig's guards and used shock value to capture his attention. Ludwig was immediately bewitched. The king ignored the warnings of his own cabinet. He showered Lola with wealth and Bavarian citizenship, firing anyone who dared to criticize her influence. Lola's political meddling soon triggered nationwide riots. A once peaceful land fell into civil war, ultimately forcing King Ludwig to abdicate his throne and leave his country in ruins. This pattern is universal. In ancient Rome, Cassius harbored a deep pathological envy of Julius Caesar. He infected Brutus with this rancor, bending his ear daily until Brutus joined a conspiracy that destroyed the Republic. Lola pulled her lovers into a maelstrom of confusion and intense emotion. This turbulence replaced their stable, predictable lives with a sense of heightened vitality, creating a psychological bond that masked the danger of their impending ruin. Because an infector's instability is rooted in their character, they cannot be helped. The chaos they generate will continue radiating outward until it collapses everything the host has built. The medical prognosis for this emotional virus is absolute. You cannot cure an infector. Your well-meaning attempts to help them will only result in your own inevitable unhinging. Look at this timeline of a typical infector's life. Notice the repeating spikes of sudden crises, broken relationships, and failed careers. Once you identify these signs, the only defense is absolute quarantine. Flee their presence or suffer the consequences. However, the law of emotional contagion also works in your favor. Just as misery is contagious, so are success, generosity, and good cheer. Napoleon Bonaparte understood this. Though he was a rough and ungracious ruler, he deliberately kept the courtly and witty Talleyrand close to him to soak up the culture and charm he lacked. Human character is highly permeable. You are the sum of the emotional states you expose yourself to. Guard your inner circle against the unstable and actively seek out the company